I was fortunate to serve in first the Islamic Republic of Mauritania from 2000 to 2002. It's a lot of deserts and donkeys and camels, men and women wrapped up to protect themselves from the sun and the dust, all living in unison. So I started teaching adult English classes, and it was a really interesting group. People who had farms to people who worked in the school. I remember one of my favorite classes was a day that I thought that I decided to make chili for my class. It seemed like a really great, tangible way to describe all of these different items that I had put in the chili and that I wanted to share with them. And it was just a flop. People didn't understand why their teacher was offering them food. Mauritanians usually eat communally around a bowl, and I was essentially giving people individual bowls with a spoon. So it was a good lesson for me. When I was gonna start something, I probably needed to vet it through other Mauritanians to see if I was on the right track. It turned out to benefit me down the road with another project that I had done. The volunteers in my community opened up a girls' mentoring center, and I was talking to my host's mom, Dala, over lunch one day, and I was like, it would be really wonderful if, the girls could have a sports team. She was like, well, what are you thinking? And I was like, well, I think soccer. She's like, soccer's really great for boys. Mauritania is predominantly Muslim, and that was sort of how I was led down the path to basketball being something that was more appropriate. There wasn't any kicking. I could control the environment around the basketball court a little bit better. The girls could stay sort of covered appropriately and sort of getting all the benefits of sports that the boys were having. One of the challenges that I found in Mauritania was that, for the most part, women and men sort of operate in different spheres of life. Not only did I not have friends that were men, but the friends that I had that were women were often, my age or younger and had families, and really sort of didn't always understand me being a young 20-something with a college education, but sadly not married, and even more sadly without children, which I think was really devastating for them and hard for me to sort of convince them that this was my choice and that I was going to meet somebody, but it could be later. After my 2 years in Mauritania, I did my third year in Mali, and my time in Mali was very different. In Mali, I coordinated Peace Corps' HIV/AIDS program. A lot of my work in Mali surrounded working with high-risk groups. We would go to truck stops. We visited the high schools throughout the community, and also to brothels and working with commercial sex workers. So I would do a lot of male and female condom demonstrations. I was lucky to work with a team of Malians that would help me out in terms of languages and making sure that I was doing things that were culturally appropriate. One of the aspects of my work in Mali was working on a radio show that let people call in and ask questions that they had about HIV and AIDS. And it was a great preparation for when we went out to the field, and sort of that we could answer questions that people might be having before they even asked them. When I came back, I thought, wow, America's really changed in the 3 years that I've been away. And the reality was that I had changed a lot. That you're American and you should feel, oh, this is home and this is where I should be, but it all seems so different. Leaving Mauritania and Mali and sort of seeing the health and just poverty there is really striking, and to know that in very small ways I could be working to make improvements, even from Boston, has been phenomenal.